Okay.
Oh, am I the last one?
Yeah, tapping us in. Tapping us in. Good evening and welcome to the City of Roswell Mayor and City Council meeting for January 22nd, 2024. I am Mayor Kurt Wilson. I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues and council members present. Councilmember Sarah Beeson, Councilmember Christine Hall, Councilmember Lee Hills, Councilmember David Johnson, Councilmember William Mortland, and Councilmember Alan Sells. At this point, I'd like to now turn the meeting over to our City Administrator, Mr. Randy Knighton, to explain how the meeting is run. Mr. Knighton.
Thank you, Mayor Wilson, and good evening, everyone. In accordance with Section Chapter 3.70 of the City Code, the City Council shall hold regular public meetings. The purpose of City Council meetings are for the public to participate and speak on agenda items which constitute formal decisions by the elected body. These items are listed on the published agenda, which can be accessed via the city website prior to the meeting. This is a public meeting, and some items do require a formal public hearing. A significant and important component of City Council meetings are to hear directly from residents on items listed on the agenda. Public comments and questions are essential for Mayor and Council to consider as they contemplate each decision. Citizens are at the top of the organizational chart, and therefore it is imperative for Mayor and Council to hear from citizens in these meetings. If you would like to speak on an item, we ask that you fill out a comment card, which can be found at the back of the room, in order to ensure an accurate record of the meeting. We ask, of course, that everyone observe the principles of mutual respect and display the appropriate demeanor during the course of the meeting this evening, which is and should be reflective of this great community. The mayor is the presiding officer and will ensure the orderly exchange of comments, questions, and discussion leading to decision-making by the elected body. We encourage everyone in attendance and the viewing audience to visit the city website for meetings, events, and departmental information. We also encourage everyone to review and participate in the various activities and offerings in the city of Roswell, and visit roswell365.com for a calendar of events. There are a number of events upcoming in the city, which the mayor will discuss shortly, along with some other announcements which promote community, physical activity, and leisure as we all make Roswell the #1 family community in America. Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Knighton. At this time, I'd like to call the Reverend Dave Dunn from the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North to the front for the invocation and moment of silence.
Good evening. Let us pray. Beloved Spirit, dear God, God of many names and forms, we are grateful for your presence here this evening. And we are also grateful and privileged to be called to do the work on behalf of this community. And as we engage in this work, let us not think of ourselves, but for future generations, future people, people who are not yet here, who will call this community home. Dear God, may the spirit of public service continue to flow amongst and through us. We ask this in the name of all that is holy and sacred. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Dave Dunn from the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North Church. At this time, I'd like to call United States Navy 2nd Petty Class Officer Carl Thompson to come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'm going to ask Second Petty Class Officer Thompson to stay up there, and I'd like the council to come down and join me for the first item under the mayor's report, which is the reading of a proclamation for the esteemed Veteran of Roswell Award to United States Navy's 2nd Petty Class Officer Carl Thompson.
There's hair under there, too.
It's a good-looking picture. Proclamation, Office of the Mayor. Second Petty Class Officer Carl Thompson, esteemed veteran. Whereas it is with great pride and appreciation that the city of Roswell recognizes the exceptional military service of Carl Thompson, a distinguished veteran whose dedication to duty has left an indelible mark on our community. Whereas Carl Thompson, a true patriot, served with honor and distinction in the United States Navy from 2000 to 2005, achieving the rank of second-class petty officer as an operations specialist. Whereas Carl Thompson's commitment to service led him to serve on the USS Texas for 2 years, stationed in Alameda, California, and Treasure Island near San Francisco, California, exemplifying his dedication to protecting our nation's interest. And whereas Carl Thompson's service extended to the Persian Gulf, where he demonstrated courage and resilience during a 10-month deployment in service to our country. And whereas continuing his commitment to safeguarding our communities, Carl Thompson was transferred to Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas, where he underwent 3 months of rigorous police training, ultimately serving as a security police officer / MP. And whereas during his tenure as a patrolman, Carl Thompson's exemplary service went beyond the call of duty, as he played a crucial role in the prevention of a bank robbery and provided valuable assistance to fellow service members. And whereas recognizing his leadership and expertise, Carl Thompson was promoted to the role of instructor for new patrolmen, imparting essential skills such as emergency driving, self-defense, and other tactics vital to everyday police work. And whereas Carl Thompson's dedication to education led him to utilize the GI Bill, obtaining a degree in education from San Francisco State University, a testament to his commitment to personal growth and continued service to society. And whereas a proud resident of Roswell, Georgia, Carl Thompson, alongside his wife Destiny and daughters Sophia and Olivia, has further enriched our community through his ownership and operation of Chipper's Club Restaurant from 2018 to 2020. Now, therefore, I, Kurt M. Wilson, Mayor of the City of Roswell, do hereby name second-class Petty Officer Carl Thompson, an esteemed veteran of Roswell, and call upon all our citizens to recognize his outstanding service to our country and to our community, and that there is no higher calling than those who serve the United States Armed Forces. Carl, would you like to say a few words?
It's hearing it back sometimes, it's a lot, and just to take in. Over the years, I put other things priority first, but 2 things I know for sure. I love living here in Roswell, and over the years, through the mistakes and the good things and the bad things, the most important thing to me other than God is my family. And I am so glad that we get to be here in a place that I probably should say so, we used to leave our keys in our car because how safe we felt in Roswell. I'm not even kidding. That we live here, that we can be together, and that through thick and thin and hard and good, is that we can be a proud people here in Roswell and be here and help people out too here. Thank you all for everything.
Amen. Sophia, Destiny, yes. They're late. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you, Sophia, Olivia.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, being that the next item under the mayor's report is a public safety recognition, we'll let the cat out of the bag. This young lady and Supreme Council member, who was the public safety liaison in 2023, we had a meeting today with the fire department and the brand-new 11 full-time firefighters that just started class today. So I announced to them that in 2024, this council member will be also the liaison for public safety again. So Councilmember Sarah Beeson, and I'd like to introduce this next item, please, ma'am.
As part of the mayor's report, we'll be recognizing the 2023 Roswell Police Department Citizens Police Academy alumni who are here this evening.
I think that's you, Jim.
And now I will introduce Chief Conroy, who is the greatest police chief, not only in the state of Georgia, but in the United States of America. Chief Conroy.
That's what I was waiting for.
That was your cue.
All right, first, if I could get the graduates to please stand so everybody gets an idea of who you are. The blue shirts do give it away mostly. As you know, for the Roswell Police Department, community relations is huge. No police department can be successful without the support of the community that we serve. One of our most successful community relations program has become the Citizens Police Academy. So typically every year we run 2 classes, fall and spring. Despite the weather, our spring class starts in 2 weeks. So it's cold out there, it's gonna be warm in 2 weeks, and our spring class will begin February 7th, I think is the first night, Tim. So the next class is full. The fall class, we will take applications for next fall. This past year, we did run a 3rd academy. I think if you'll remember, we received a grant and had our 2nd Hispanic Citizens Police Academy that we held during the summer. This coming summer, we're gonna host our 3rd Hispanic Citizens Police Academy. And I believe, if I'm not getting ahead of the group, our first Teen Police Academy is gonna occur this summer also. So the program is evolving. We get tremendous support, and each class fills up faster than the last. After they graduate, they get an opportunity to come serve and volunteer with the city. You'll see them at many city events wearing their CPA shirts. The fire department does the same. Some of them do have multiple shirts. Some have gone to both the CPA and the Citizens Fire Academy, but we do prefer the blue shirts when you see them. But 2 of our honor graduates would like to speak this evening just to explain a little bit about their experience. And Maria Clark, we'll let you go first. And then Mr. Dempsey will go right after.
Good evening. I'm Maria Clark. I'm from Argentina. I'm a federal police retired in Argentina for 10 years. So when I moved out to Roswell, I moved out to Sandy Springs. I work in Animal Hospital Sandy Springs with canine dogs from Sandy Springs Police. And I noticed for the academy on social media, and I asked I can go to keep close to my ex-career. Like, I love it. It was hard to don't be a cop anymore, so I started to try to find the moment to be close to my ex-career. So it was the best experience of my life. I was closing on the police again, ride along, Spanish. People try to talk about experience and learning more. And for Argentines, people like me, we always dream to be close to American force, public service, and Army, police, so it was the best experience of my life. Now I'm a member, I'm from Roswell Police, so I keep going with events and helping, and always on the best moment with police. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, my name's Will, and I had the opportunity to attend the Fall Police Academy, and I think the takeaway from our class, I hope I speak for all of our class, is that we got to see every operational piece of the police department in a very, very close, very intimate understanding of how they conduct police business. And I hope I speak for everyone in the class that we came away from that experience knowing that we have a first-class, best-in-class police department serving our city, and are very comforted by the fact that if anything is required from our law enforcement professionals, we will have the finest professionals we could possibly have, serving us, protecting us, guardians over our city. And we're just very honored to have had that opportunity to spend a little time. We didn't lose sight of the fact that these men and women serve 12 hours a day just to begin with, and then spend an extra 3 hours just to show us how they conduct business. And we were very, I think all of us were very impacted by it, and very grateful for the opportunity, and it's a phenomenal program. And my workplace is tired of hearing me try to recruit people to go to it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you again for honoring our 2023 CPA graduates.
Thanks, Chief Conroy, and thank you to the Roswell Police Department. Thank you, graduates, for participating. I think you got a glimpse into why we believe this is the, it starts with leadership, and the leadership at the top of the Roswell Police Department is exceptional. Like, literally, we think we have the finest police chief in the entire United States. We really do. And Jim does such a great job, and you can see it just inculcate itself through the culture. There are so many wise things. Like, for example, Jim has a policy of de-escalation. Simple word, massive strategy, has massive positive impacts for the city of Roswell, all thanks to the leadership of Chief Jim Conroy. Thank you for participating. Keep proselytizing and telling people how great this police department is. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you. By the way, Chief, just got a note handed to me from Councilmember David Johnson. He wants to know that if he attends one of the academies, will he be able to make citizens arrest?
We covered that in class. What's the answer to that?
Sorry, David. Yes, Councilmember. Oh, can we take a picture, Chief, with you and your class? Thank you very much, Willie. Thank you. Yeah.
All the way up.
Going up here.
Wait.
Hey, you always look for a blue shirt.
All right.
Nice to see you too, sir.
Oh, hey. Good to see you.
All right, we're gonna need to all become friends.
Yeah. Yeah, squeeze together as much as you can. You want-
All right,
Okay.
we'll take them one at a time here, so we're now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm starting. All right. Smiling.
That long arm advantage. Everyone's in there, right? Anybody else? All right. Thank you all.
I like that. A little jealousy is always good. That's cool. You mean you guys don't want to stay for the whole meeting? It's only 3 or 4 hours longer. Come on. Right. All right, the last item under the mayor's report is a list of upcoming events and some other announcements. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Councilmember Lee Hills. Lee?
Yes,
Oh,
Mayor,
show's
thank you
yours.
very much. While though it's cold outside, we are warming up on the calendar here in Roswell. You know by now, but I will refresh your memory, if you are interested in finding out what's going on across the city or posting something that's a public event from either your HOA or a nonprofit or community organization, please go to roswell365.com and you can look up or see what's going on or post something of your own. It's a great way to just find out what's happening and stay connected. One of the biggest things as far as warming up goes, we are warming up to the month of the City of Roswell, Roswell Roots celebration in the city in the month of February. Boy, I can't put my words together. Sorry about that.
Lee, it's okay. The police are still causing a commotion in the back. So
Yes,
sorry
exactly,
about that.
exactly. So we're excited to announce the kickoff of our annual Roswell Roots Festival, and that starts in January, warming up before the beginning of February. And this is the 23rd annual Roswell Roots Festival. This is a community-wide month-long celebration, slightly more than a month this year, to highlight education and cultural and historic awareness here in the city of Roswell. This year, the festival will feature flagship events such as Lyrics and Lear, Grabbing the Hammer Lane, which is a trucker narrative, the first event that'll take place, which is Sunday, January 28th, Black in the Box, Carla Harris and the Joe Alterman Trio, and the Groveway Community Group presents Metropolitan Atlanta Community Band. Tickets for these events are available to purchase at www.roswellcac.showware.com. That's Roswell CAC, which stands for Cultural Arts Center, I think it's Showware, SHOWARE.com. And the full list of Roswell Roots events and programs is available at www.roswellroots.com. That's with an S. If you haven't participated in any of these in the past or checked out what's online, please do so. I've learned something every single year from multiple events, and many of the things tie into the local history right here in Roswell, and then other things are much more broad brush across the United States celebrating our Black History Month. So I hope you'll come out and join us. Roswell365.com for more. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Lee. How do you think Roswell 365, is it being used a lot, do you think?
It is, but we could use more. We want to know. We want to know how we can promote what you're doing. If it's a public event, we'd like to have that listed on there. All you have to do is go on the website, roswell365.com, and there's a step-by-step process that you can upload a picture, details, fill out a quick questionnaire with a pictionnaire, and it'll be approved pretty quickly, and then it'll go right onto the calendar and to the website.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, that ends the mayor's report. Now we go to department's awards. And unfortunately, as I look through the agenda tonight, I'm going to keep calling this particular council member's name. And this council member is just like a glutton for wanting attention. So we're going to get it started right off the get-go and start with our pro tem. Councilmember Workland, since this award is for environmental public works, would you please present the first item?
Yes, sir. Recognition of the City of Roswell Water Utility receiving the Distribution Systems Excellence Platinum Award for the Georgia section of American Water Works Association, the GAWWA, and the Georgia Association of Water Professionals, the GAWP, presented by Mr. Brian Watson, Director.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Welcome, Brian.
First off, I absolutely love my job. And one of the best parts about my job is when we get to recognize the hardworking water professionals that we have working for the City of Roswell. You all know this, we do have a lot of awards. We also have probably the best set of water professionals in the state. With us tonight in the back, we've got Chris Boyd, who's our water utility manager, Jason Downs and Casey Scholes, who are part of our distribution team. But to present the award and what the information actually, how to get it, I'm going to bring up Brian Skeens from GAWP so that he can give you a little bit more about actually not just one award, but we actually have 2 awards. So, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Mayor and Council, thanks for inviting me to be here with you all today. My name is Brian Skeens. I work for Jacobs Engineering, and I'm the immediate past president of GAWP. If you're not familiar with the Georgia Association of Water Professionals, we are a not-for-profit association with a current membership of nearly 4,000 water, wastewater, and stormwater professionals, and our chief purpose is to educate and assist those who have an interest in the proper management and protection of Georgia's water resources. GAWP is the state's premier professional association for water, wastewater, stormwater, and related issues. We were founded in 1932 and started the first licensing program for water professionals in Georgia. For over 90 years, GAWP has provided the bulk of certified professional training for water and wastewater operators here in Georgia. GAWP is formally affiliated with several other national professional organizations, including the American Water Works Association, Water Environment Federation, American Water Resources Association, and the Georgia Waterwise Council. The first award I am presenting tonight is the Platinum Award for Water Distribution System Excellence. The purpose of this award is to annually recognize the water distribution systems that have been operated in an outstanding manner. During the 2023 GAWP Fall Conference in Athens, the City of Roswell Water Utility was presented with the GAWWA Platinum Award for Distribution System Excellence by earning a quantitative inspection score of 95 or higher of a possible 100 points. This is the 6th consecutive time that the City of Roswell wins this award, thus reaching the Platinum Award status. The GAWWA Distribution System Committee sponsors the Distribution System Excellence Award for utilities that want to participate and achieve silver and gold status based on their system's audited performance. The platinum status is status achieved after 5 consecutive gold awards. The Water Distribution System program focuses on furthering the performance of distribution systems across Georgia and strives to improve the performance, safety, and reliability of distribution systems through collective knowledge sharing. Receiving this award is recognition of the excellence and commitment to providing safe, reliable drinking water to their customers. Receiving this award is no easy task. Prior to the fall conference, a group of distribution system committee members visit each eligible system and spend 4 to 6 hours inspecting every aspect of the distribution system. The auditors evaluate hundreds of pages of documentation and many specific areas are surveyed. But the City of Roswell was exceptional in achieving the score to receive this Platinum Award. The next award I am presenting today is the Master Plan Spotlight Award. Also during the 2023 GAWP Fall Conference in Athens, the City of Roswell was awarded with the Master Planning Spotlight Award in the Small Utility category for their 2022 Water Utility Master Plan. This award was established in 2011 to promote sound planning practices and to put a spotlight on examples of utilities which have excelled in creating useful master plans. Nominations for this award are evaluated against the master planning best practices available on the GAWP website technical resources page. The Integrated Master Planning Committee presents the award in 2 separate categories, small utility and large utility. City of Roswell's 2022 Water Utility Master Plan utilizes many of the data inputs and planning steps described in the GAWP's Best Practices Master Planning Guidelines. The city's water master plan was developed in-house and included significant efforts to engage their community during the plan development. The City of Roswell should be very proud of its water utility staff for reaching this impressive level of achievement and being 2023 recipients of the Platinum Award for Water Distribution System Excellence and the Master Plan Spotlight Award. This is an important accomplishment and speaks volumes about the exceptional commitment and level of service that the City of Roswell Water Utility provides to their customers. Thank you and congratulations to the City of Roswell Water Distribution and Water Utility staff. Brian Watson, Environmental Public Works Director, and Chris Boyd, Water Utility Manager, please join me to receive these awards. Congratulations.
Which one you want to give?
Whichever one.
You deserve it. We'll go with the, we have a nice plaque that we can put all our awards on for the distribution award.
It's getting full.
It's pretty full, Chris, yeah.
Not full yet, it's getting there.
Go ahead.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right,
I'm
so-
gonna let them do a little talk, yeah.
A lot of the distribution staff had planned to be here tonight to be recognized for this award. Many of them were here last night till about 2:30 in the morning fixing a leak. And then at 5 a.m. this morning, we had another main break on Woodstock and Canton. So they were out there this morning fixing that. We got it buttoned up at 1:30 and then told them to go home, don't worry about coming in tonight. Yeah, they have worked really hard over this weekend. With the thawing that was going on due to the freeze, that's when all the leaks started popping up. And I had one guy, John Campbell, who was pretty much here all day Sunday, running back and forth. So I want to recognize our distribution staff, Jason Downs, who's our distribution supervisor, Casey Scholes, who's our construction inspector, backflow specialist, John Campbell, who I mentioned, who's our field services rep, Corey Bagby, Kyle Brookshire, who are our crew foremen, AJ Shinjib, and Arthur Breckbill, who are our crew distribution workers or operators. Patty Weatherby, who's our admin assistant, does a great job for us. Jesse Cash and Andy Hamby, who run the water treatment plant. And part of the distribution award criteria is looking at our lab and looking at our sampling within the system to ensure that we're meeting all the safe drinking water standards. And they perform that task for us. Nancy Velez, our GIS analyst, and Erica Coe, who has recently come back to us part-time, our environmental engineer. They were all instrumental in helping us to achieve this award once again, second year in a row.
Brian, do you want to say anything else about this? Because it's pretty remarkable, and it's hard to kind of put it in perspective how remarkable it is.
I know we probably used a lot of time. I could speak a lot more. Just it is kind of impressive. You know what Chris was saying is, we've had guys working this past week a lot of hours, to make sure that we continue to provide the high quality service to all of our residents within the utility. And the other thing just to note is, and Brian pointed out, the master plan was done in-house. So, to win an award with the GAWP for master plan, it's a pretty big deal. Yeah, it's nice to bring an award, but when you go up against all of the big guys, so to speak, in the water industry, especially within the Metro District, this is pretty special. And congrats to you and the council for all the support that you've given to the utility. So, thank you.
It's people probably don't realize this, that we are blessed that 30% of Roswell residents get Roswell water. We wish it was 100% because it's so good. And there's a lot of people in utilities who work a lot, but they don't deliver the results that these gentlemen and ladies do. Like, not only do they work a lot, but they also deliver results, and they keep the water supply running clean and functioning. And it's really a testimony to the professionalism, Chris, of you and your team. Thank you, Jason and Casey, as well, for all you do. Brian, thanks for coming to be with us tonight. If you'll allow us, we'll come down and take a picture with you guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Knight, did you want to say anything, sir?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that very much. And while they assemble for the photo, I do certainly want to extend a great deal of gratitude and thanks for the team to ensuring that we have excellent water quality here in Roswell, and also that the efficacy of the distribution system is always operating at a high level. Thank you for the hard work you do. I know that sometimes it's behind the scenes, so to speak, and unseen, but obviously the city could not function without the great work that you do. And thank you for everything you've done over the last couple of days, given the freezing conditions and some of the water main breaks that we had. So thank you again.
Clap it a lot more if your water were out.
Yeah, you're okay. Can everybody slide a little bit this way, though? Good, we're good.
Chris, you look tired. Okay, let's see. Next is the consent agenda. I think there are only 3 items on the consent agenda. Does council have any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda? Being that council has no questions or comments regarding the consent agenda, do any Roswell residents have any questions or comments regarding the 3 items on the consent agenda? Being that there are no questions or comments from Roswell residents, I bring it back to council for any last thoughts, comments, or questions on the consent agenda. Being that there are none, I call for a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilmember Beeson. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councilmember Johnson. All in favor of passing the consent agenda, please raise your hands. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Next is the Community Development Department. Councilmember Morthland, looks like you're going to be busy tonight, my friend. Would you read the first item under Community Development?
Okay. Presented by Ms. Jackie Dybel, CU 2023-0197-CV 2023-0195. This is 400 Vickery Falls Drive, Mill Creek Place. We're asking for this item to be deferred to the March 19th, 2024 Planning Commission hearing.
Motion, would you like to make a motion on that,
I would
Councilmember?
love for that to be a motion, yes, sir.
All right, any comment or thoughts on this issue? Being that there are none, would you like to make a motion?
Motion to move CU 2023-0197-CV 2023-0195, 400 Vickery Falls Drive, Mill Creek Place, to the, we're asking that it be moved to the March 19th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Morthland. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilmember Hills. All in favor of deferring item 1 to the March 19th, 2024 Planning Commission hearing, please raise your hands. It passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Councilmember Morthland, let's see. Next item, please, sir. Item 2.
This is the approval of the final plat, East Village, 2600 Holcomb Bridge Road. And Mayor and fellow council members, this is also being requested that we push this to Planning Commission. There have been a lot of questions that have been posed recently by Planning Commission. And before we take the next steps, I would like for the Planning Commission to have an opportunity to answer those questions. With your permission, I'd request that the Planning Commission meet this week under a special called meeting and that we bring this back to council next Monday night, since we'll be here for open mic night and some ordinances, spa ordinances as well.
City Attorney Davidson, within the rights to do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do we have an established meeting for the Planning Commission as of this date?
We do not, but we will request that the Planning Commission meet this week, correct?
So we had to wait to the deferral. Once we do that, we will get in touch with all the Planning Commission members first thing tomorrow. We must advertise for 24 hours. So we'll be looking at most likely Wednesday or Thursday or Friday for the meeting because we have to post for 24 hours in advance of the meeting.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay. So, Councilmember Morthland, do you have a motion?
And one quick question for Attorney Davidson. Attorney Davidson, we are still within our 45-day window on this?
Yes, the 45 days actually runs next Monday, but there is an action by sending this to the Planning Commission under our code that is allowed.
Okay.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Will. So, Councilmember Morthland, would you like to make a motion?
I would like to motion that we send the final plat, East Village 2600 Holcomb Bridge Road, back to the Planning Commission for a specially called meeting this week, followed up by meeting next week at the regular open mic night for City Council.
So, just for clarity, this will go to the Planning Commission this week, and they'll be addressed by the City Council next Monday, the 29th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second for that motion? Seconded by Councilmember Johnson. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Councilmember Mortland, item number 3 on your report, please, sir.
Approval of a text amendment to the Unified Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.5.2, Use Table, Article 5, Section 5.5.2, Use Table, Article 6, Section 6.5.2, Use Table, and Article 9, Section 9.5.2, Indoor Recreation, and 9.58, Personal Service regarding massage and spa establishments. First reading presented by Ms. Jackie Dybel, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Will. And I'm going to ask City Attorney Davidson to read the ordinance, please, sir.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to amend the Unified Development Code by modifying Article 4, Corridor Nodes Districts, Article 5, Downtown Historic Districts, Article 6, Employment Districts, and Article 9, Use Provisions. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the City of Roswell, Georgia, pursuant to their authority, do hereby amend Article 4, Section 4.5.2, Use Table, Article 5, Section 5.5.2, Use Table, Article 6, 6.5.2, Use Table, Article 9, 9.5.2, Indoor Recreation, and 9.5.8, Personal Service of the Unified Development Code, the text of which is incorporated herein by reference, and if approved, this is the first reading.
Thank you, City Attorney Davidson. Councilmember Mortland, would you ask Jackie Dybel to come up, please?
Hello, Jackie Dybel.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the first reading of the text amendment to the Unified Development Code regarding the massage and spa establishment. As you know, at the initiation a few weeks ago, what this is doing is to make massage and spas a conditional use in Article 4 under the NX, CX, shopfront, commercial corridor, Parkway Village, commercial heavy as a conditional use. Also as a conditional use in Article 5 in our downtown historic district area. Okay, somebody's playing with the stuff back there. I don't know what they're doing.
That's Marley.
Please hope they don't, but.
Marley says not her.
It's not Marley? I don't know if that's, okay. All right, so the downtown historic district area, conditional use in downtown mixed use, downtown shopfront, and downtown house. In Article 6 are our office employment districts for conditional use in the office residential, office park, and the industrial light. The changes to Article 9, which is 9.5.2, indoor recreation, letter C, gym, health, spa, yoga studio. To add at the bottom in the definition is to say a massage and spa establishment is not included in this definition. Also changes to Article 9 is to delete what is currently in the code right now under personal service, therapeutic massage in its entirety, and to add, renumber and add a definition for massage and spa establishments, since we currently do not have one in the code at this point in time. The Planning Commission heard this item last Tuesday on the 16th of January. They had they did recommend approval, and they had two conditions or two changes to be considered. To add physical therapy to be included as part of the other healthcare establishments. So going back to what we have here under the definition, the very last sentence of that definition where it says this term shall not include hospitals, you could add comma, physical therapy or other professional health care establishments. I believe that's what they were looking at doing and adding physical therapy to that section there. And the second one is for the conditional use approval for massage and spa establishments does not run with the land. So what that means is if somebody rezones or gets, we'll use conditional use, most conditional uses, a standard one, once it's approved, it runs with the land. So what they're indicating here, and I think this might be part of what maybe is going into Article 4, that the city attorney might put in his portion, that if a conditional use is approved, so let's say we get somebody who brings in one for a spot within a shopping center, and it goes through the process, submits the application, goes through the police background check, gets their approvals there, and then comes to council. Once we do that, maybe what we might end up doing is having a set where it says it's, you approve it, but it does not run with the land, it would run with the establishment. So let's say, for example, and I won't say my name, so let's say somebody else, Jackie's Massage, I'll just use me, came through and I got an approval, but after a year I left. Somebody else has to come in. They don't want it to run with the land. I hope is that what I'm trying to make sense? So you approve it for the one, but somebody new would come in. It would not stand, it'd just be approved in that one center, shopping center, tenant name, suite number 100. So that's what they were getting at, for it to not run with the land. And staff does recommend timeline here. Planning Commission heard it last week. Tonight is the first reading. The second reading has been advertised for February 12th. You do know it is still under a moratorium at this point in time, which runs until the beginning part of March. I think it's around somewhere in the first part of March is for the moratorium is still in play. Staff does recommend approval of the first reading of the text amendment. And if you should like us to add the Planning Commission's recommendations, we will do so with whatever your motion is on this item.
Jackie, thank you very much. Does council have any thoughts, comments, or questions on this matter? Councilmember Johnson.
For the physical therapist part, they are licensed by the state, so wouldn't they already be covered under other professional healthcare establishments separately licensed by the state?
Would be my interpretation as well, David.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeson.
A few questions for clarity. So going back to the changes to Article 9 slide, which you have pulled up, it says at the bottom originally that a massage and spa establishment is not included in this definition. However, it says health spa at the top, so the redundancy of the use of spa seems a bit confusing in the sense that I realize a health spa can be interpreted differently than a massage spa, but reusing the term spa seems a bit confusing. And then secondarily, subsection D, massage and spa establishment, section 1 defined. One of the items say that the general overview, it calls for the patron to disrobe. There are other services that require a person to disrobe that are not massage related. For example, waxing, full body waxing.
Cryotherapy.
Cryotherapy is another example.
Yeah.
Facials are another example. So I would possibly give, and I don't know the exact wording that we can use, I will possibly leave that in your very trusted hands before this comes back to us to maybe adjust the wording on that one to remove the call for disrobing and maybe just clearly define the services that they are providing. Just because call for disrobe, it opens a very large can of worms that's open to interpretation.
I like your thinking, Sarah. I agree with you on that, just for what it's worth. Other council members, comments, thoughts, or questions? None? Councilmember Hills.
Thank you. This is also just clarification on the Planning Commission's recommendation. Number 2, the conditional use approval for massage and spa establishments does not run with the land. That's sort of like grandfathered in. So if one establishment has been approved, it closes. That location doesn't just automatically become, doesn't have an automatic go. They have to go through the full process again and ask for conditional use. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's how I believe when the Article 4 is being written, that's how it's going to be established.
Okay.
But that is going to be part of Article 4 in the city code. But the Planning Commission just wanted to make sure that was included in their comments.
I think that's fair. It's a good point, and it's part of the intentional, the intent, I think, of council on this matter.
Well, and to give us the opportunity to take a look at each applicant on its own rather than just rolling with the punches on that.
Yes, ma'am.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Councilmember Sells.
Mr. Davidson, would this restriction, the fact that it's not going to pass, be reflected in the license so that a buyer of the business may be aware that it doesn't roll? Is that going to be reflected there?
I'm not sure. It won't be in the license. It'll be in the code, but I'm not sure. We could probably put something that it's only for this entity. This conditional use only applies to this entity if this council wants us to.
It just seems like a good faith buyer would need to know that
Right.
before they closed.
We can probably put that somewhere on the actual license.
Okay.
That's a great point, Alan. Thank you. I do think that needs to be part of the process. Exactly. That a good faith buyer is aware of the conditions that they have to meet. And if there's another license that they have to go get, they need to know that before they purchase it. Couldn't agree with you more. Councilmember Beeson.
One more just point of clarity for those who are listening as well, and to make sure that this is confirmed with Ms. Dybel. This is just for future businesses, those that are already pre-existing, already within the city of Roswell, already meet these standards. They will not be they don't have to go through this entire process if they're already existing businesses. Is that correct?
So, yes, that is correct. What I believe in, when the Article 4 comes before you, which the city attorney is working on, there'll be establishments on if a business closes and for one to reopen, and that would be a new business. But the ones that are existing and they go through their renewals, they would not have to go through a conditional use for, to come before council.
Jackie, just say that again for clarity, because that could get missed. That's very important. So if you're an existing massage therapist, you're an existing sole practitioner, right?
And you go through each year, you establish the renewal application through the business license application forms. And if you're existing and you're just renewing, you may have to do the work that the police department has you doing, but you would not be coming before council for a conditional use. If you're a brand new business, never been to Roswell, and you're going into a spot that's never had one, then yes, you would be going through the conditional use process as long as you are located in one of the classifications that our zoning allows.
Jackie, thanks for that clarity. Sarah, did that?
Yeah. And to confirm to you, so for one of the classifications that our zoning allows it in pretty much any commercial area as is. And as a point of clarity for those who do run legitimate massage establishments, spas, I understand too, to the mayor's point, those who are sole practitioners, you do want to have some sort of succession plan. I'm of the frame of mind that if you sell your business and it comes back before council because it has to go through the conditions again, if there's no violations, it passes the smell test, it's above board. I don't think, and I don't foresee this being an issue with mayor and council approving it for that conditional use. But I think it gives us the ability that if it does not pass the smell test or it had significant violations, that gives us a stopgap in those situations. But I will defer to the rest of mayor and council if they see otherwise.
Just a thought, just off the top of my head, since you're the liaison for public safety. I'm thinking that Jim might have a perspective that might be used as a vehicle. By the way, the overwhelming, can we share the numbers on the spas? Okay, if we can't, okay. So we have 182 massage therapist businesses in the city of Roswell. The super majority are incredibly legitimate and need to be patronized by Roswell citizens, by Roswell residents and people outside the Roswell area. They're legitimate, great businesses. I am a customer, and I highly advocate massage therapy. I think it's awesome. It's great. It's therapeutic. It's good for the mind, body, and soul. And so this is not targeted at the supermajority of legitimate businesses. It is targeted at 23 businesses that we know and have identified that are involved in human trafficking and illicit, illegal activities. We know it, and we're going after them. And we're going to continue to put on, if there's another loophole created, we'll put another loophole to shut them down. We are committed to shutting down anything involved with human trafficking or any illicit activity inside of a, whatever it happened, whatever you want to call it. But we understand that the overwhelming majority is legitimate and needs to be supported. And that's why to the council members' questions are, we want to make sure that we do not harm in any shape, manner, or form sole practitioners or massage therapists working out of a chain or massage therapists that are working out of a chiropractor's office, because we understand that the overwhelming majority are fantastic business people, need to be protected. And but I also want to be clear is that we're also committed as a city that we're going to absolutely wipe out anything involved with human trafficking. And I have to be clear with you, is it does happen, and we understand that it happens in 23 locations currently in the city, and we know where they are, and there are a lot of loopholes. So there's a lot of work, unfortunately, that we have to go through to continue to close those loopholes. So we're also very clear is that we don't want to hurt any of our legitimate businesses. So the only thing I'd say on the remuneration of the potential, a potentially illicit business might use that as a vehicle to get it. If a legitimate business closes, they might use as a vehicle to if there's no protocol for, just a thought.
No, absolutely, and I think that's the justification behind that smell test component. The fact that we do very closely monitor these spa establishments, understanding we have a fairly good idea of ones that are more legitimate than others, and making sure, to your point, that it's very clear what the conditional uses are and why.
Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? Councilmember Sells?
Jackie, you said if they already exist, they would not have to come back before council. Does that mean that run with the land issue is not true for an existing spa? Is that what you're saying?
So an existing spa is permitted, currently in the code, they're permitted by right. So they're there, they exist.
Okay.
If they, like I said, they just do their renewal, they're there, they've been permitted, they do not go before council for a conditional use. If a new one comes in, then yes, they would go through the process, and it would be up to the mayor and council as to say how you would approve it. You know, if we're gonna say, we're gonna approve this one for this business, and if that one closes in 3 years, a new one comes in. It's gonna be written in the, I believe, the city code that way, so technically, would you have to put it in your approval? Maybe not, but as an extra special, you know, stopgap, just to make sure, because some that might come in and out. If you notice a specific location, as I believe police would notice, as we would notice, if you see the same address coming up, you might notice that. And so yes, you could put that in there. Does that help? You're welcome.
So, Councilmember Morthland.
Ms. Dybel, back to the two recommendations from Planning Commission. I'm understanding number two. I'm good with number two, and I'll be pushing that forward for with the motion to approve. The first one on the physical therapy to be included as part of the other healthcare establishments, as Councilmember Johnson just stated. Do we need this language? Does that help do anything further to help differentiate a physical therapist? Is this beneficial to them or not?
Per what the city attorney and Councilmember Johnson indicated, that physical therapy is part of a professional healthcare establishment. The Planning Commission just felt that it just put it in there to make it very clear, because they weren't sure if the definition was clear enough, and that was the reasoning behind it.
Okay. Thoughts on that, David?
While it's not necessary, I don't think it would do any harm to put it in there, but that's up to this council.
Councilmember Johnson.
There's other healthcare professionals that provide massages, so do we need to go? You know, I mean, I think we get into a.
Get down the bouncing ball too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, you know, chiropractors, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could be, I go to a stretch cryotherapy place, and technically at the end of my stretch, there's 5 to 7 minutes with a Theragun that could be classified as a massage, right? Yes.
If they're licensed by the state, our ordinance covers them.
Exactly.
Okay. And massage therapists are licensed by the state, chiropractors.
Exactly.
Physical therapists, doctors, nurses, anesthetists.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Good, great point.
But we don't do massages and anesthesia, just so we know.
Thank God.
You don't want that.
All right, any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Councilmember Beeson.
With that being said, I'm good with the second recommendation from Planning Commission for not running with the land, but I'm of the frame of mind to strike recommendation number 1. And to follow up on Councilmember Sell's question regarding the running with the land, I think what they're trying to address in this situation, not only through this change of the code, so for example, if there have been multiple arrests made at a specific location, the way that there are currently loopholes, it can just be transferred through ownership.
That's right.
And they can just continue doing it with their cousin who's just running the same business. This helps us address it on the city side of questioning the legitimacy if they have had arrest at the location, multiple violations. This again prevents that, or it provides a stopgap.
Yeah, that's,
I'm good for it.
To your
Good moving
point,
forward.
Sarah, and probably our fellow residents don't know this, but everybody on this stage, call the dais, the stage here. Everybody on the stage, Alan, probably with the exception of you so far, David, you may have not just yet, but everybody has received calls, multiple calls, like, why does that place keep opening? Right? We know what it is, and yet it keeps opening. So this is one of those pieces to say, all right, we're going to shut it down. Another tool in the toolbox.
To add on to that, at the same time, if you are running a legitimate spa and say you were selling it to someone else, you've never had a violation, it allows mayor and council to look at it, say, I have no qualms, no questions about this, looks legitimate, keep it moving with the conditions. Those are not the ones that I foresee having ramifications.
Yes, ma'am.
But with that, I'm good with moving forward.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other thoughts, comments, questions from council? With that, I will, Jackie, you probably can't go too far. I'd like to bring it up to any Roswell residents who'd like to address the matter. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hi, welcome. Please share with us your name and where you live.
Joe Taylor.
Hey, Joe.
And I'm a 20-year massage therapist here in Roswell. I have a couple of questions. Whenever you were talking about areas, I couldn't quite hear, sorry. Oh, by the way, can I take a moment and say thank you, Randy, so much for Friday. This man went way above taking his time with me on Friday. Thank you. Okay, so anyway.
That cuts into your time, by the way.
That's okay. He's worth it. Okay, so anyway, was that saying that there cannot be massage or spas in historic Roswell?
Oh, no, they're good to go anywhere in the city.
They're good to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the second thing is, what about our therapists that work here in Roswell and have worked here in Roswell for 30 years, and they don't live in Roswell, or they don't live in Fulton County, they live in Cherokee?
I think
what's happening to them?
Let me stop your time. I don't want to, because I think we corrected that, didn't we? Did we correct that?
That's coming in my ordinance.
Okay. So, you're right. It needs to be corrected. It's going to be corrected shortly. So, thank you for bringing it up. Yes, ma'am. And yes, ma'am. So, just go ahead and start your time back up. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. And in my understanding at this point in time, if we've been here, we have been established, we've never had any complaints. All we have to do is go, because my fingerprints and background check is in the Roswell Police Department.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I need to redo that? Do I need to fill out all this application? And do I have to have a surety bond?
David?
So everybody will have to have a massage license.
Tom, stop while you talk.
So everybody will have to have a massage establishment license. So if you do not have one previously with the police department, then you will have to get one, yes.
Okay, there was no such thing as a massage license before this year.
Correct. So that is in existence now, and currently there is a moratorium.
Body's gonna have to do it.
Correct.
And then what about the surety bond?
That is part of the application process.
That's $225. You can turn that back on now because I'm talking. $225 that's gonna cost me. I just had to this year because our state fire marshal, we can no longer go buy a new fire extinguisher. I have tons. I have my state license. I have my continuing education, blah, 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 to run my business properly. I have to have liability insurance to cover me when I touch you, if I do any harm to you, that I am covered and that you are taken care of, okay? A surety bond does nothing for my business, absolutely nothing. You should be more worried about me touching you or having a therapist that overworks you and possibly damages your cervical spine or your hips rather than your surety bond. I totally disagree with it. It is not necessary for this legitimate massage therapist. We have property insurance. We have all kinds of insurance. It's required by the state that we have personal liability insurance to cover our clients in case of we do harm. So a surety bond for a licensed massage therapist is seriously, it does not apply to our business.
Stop our time for a second. We put the surety bond in there. Why we put it in there? Put it in there. Anybody want to put it in there?
while you're thinking, I have,
I gotta turn your time back on if you're going to.
turn it back on,
Okay.
please, Randy. Thank you. LLC. I have my LLC. I have
Can
my.
can I interrupt you 1 second? I'll cut off your time. The only, if, we're gonna double check on that surety bond.
Okay, thank you.
Any measure we put in is not aimed at you, even though you may have to pay the cost of it. And it is comprehensive, right? To your point, like, hey, you put a new cost on me. I'm a legitimate business in Roswell. You're adding a new cost to my doing business. What I want to give you the context is the reason we're doing that is it's a tool to attack the illegitimate businesses that hurt your business, as you know.
I understand
You
that.
know that.
I understand that. I used to work in a police department also, so I get both ends of
So I
this.
just want to let you know, it's not meant as punitive, although there is a punitive cost to you as a legitimate business holder. But
Right.
we'll double check on this, and if we're wrong, we'll unpack it.
Thank you. I'm going to be 70 years old in August. I am a
Congratulations.
single female that's a Roswell resident. I depend on my income. And so every penny you take out of my pocket, I want to stay here in Roswell. I want to be able to afford to live here in Roswell. I'm lucky. I'm blessed beyond. I have a nice, full, wonderful practice that has been referred to me by physical therapists, physician's assistants, chiropractors. That's where my clients come from. And, you know, I want to stay here. I plan on massaging until I die. I love what I do. I'm passionate about it, and I care about my clients. I check on my clients. Even when I have a client right now that's having to go through heart surgery, I text her and check on her. Us therapists, we love our clients, and you are our number one. Each one of you are our number one. So anyway, thank you.
Well,
I appreciate it.
I wanted to let you know this. When we're having our conversations in our rooms, we are actually talking about you. This is the conversation that we have behind the scenes, is
Right.
we do not want to hurt our sole practitioners.
Hear that.
And we really do. It's a serious conversation for us. That is like, and if you'll forgive me, I almost identified you. I don't know you, but you're exactly who we've kind of identified behind the scenes. And look,
Right.
this is sole practitioner. This is their source of income. This is the range of income they make. You know,
Right.
they provide a valuable service to our community, and we need to protect these people as well.
I agree. I did say to Randy, I highly recommend for you to get a couple of massage therapists. I would be more than happy. Like I said, I've worked in a police department before, and I'm a massage therapist. I get both sides of it. I get what it takes. I put the packages together to go to court. Okay? I get it. But you guys need to have some of us with you talking about this. You need to be able to hear from us and to know what, get balance in here. And I appreciate what you're doing. I know where they're all at. Please turn the lights off on the one on Grimes Bridge. I don't care what you have to do, and go after the owner of that building if you have to, because that is one of the big offenders. You close them down and they open up. But anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Janet Russell, Roswell resident. Just a couple questions. If somebody isn't legit and they get closed down, do they have a right of appeal? And you just, thank you very much for closing down one by my house, right on Highway 9. I always wondered how it could stay open so long. They had a fire in there last summer up on the top, and the whole building was closed for several months, but it was started upstairs of whatever they had there. I'm just concerned, we all know this, I remember when I had to have, it's gotta be 15 years ago, one on the corner of Jones Drive by Amalfi Restaurant that I reported to the police. And it took them about 2 months to close it down because they had to scoop it out, and then they got a detective to go under cover, and he asked for a massage, and she offered him the happy ending. And so I know that it takes a long time, and it is part of a whole human trafficking circle in Metro Atlanta. They pick up the women and move them from one place to another like a commodity. So if they close one, What is their right of appeal? And then what do they have to do to become legit, so to speak? Or is it all BS? Because, you know, now we've shut down how many since summer? 30?
Not that many.
Well, seems like it, and I'm glad, because I'm not about human trafficking, particularly women. We are not a commodity. And it poses a danger to our children. That's why I didn't like the one by my house, because the school bus stop was in front of it. And so what do? They get closed down, then they open up, they move the women, it's always women, to another location, as a different police chief explained to me. They bring in new women with a new manager, and they put up a new front, but it's all bullshit. It's complete bull. So what do we have in our books that says no more?
That's, Janet, that is exactly why you're seeing, so when we came into office 2 years ago, you know, we recognized that this was not easy because it hadn't been done.
I know.
Right? It's just been going on and on and on, and it's one of those things that looks benign, right? It looks benign in your community, like, nah, it's not a big deal.
No, it is.
And, you know, I will tell you, like Lee and Christine and Will and Mike and I said, this too must stop. And we don't care about the consequences, and we don't care about the consequences to us politically, because it's you know, it's untenable. It's untenable to recognize, because honestly, it's organized crime, it's international organized crime, and it's involved in absolute, like 100%, like human trafficking. Like, that's what's going on inside of these establishments.
It's slavery.
It is. And I will tell you that we've approached this several ways. We've approached this from a long-term investigative perspective from the police. Very sophisticated police investigation. One of them was over a year long. You probably saw the culmination of that in September. That involved, our police force was so aggressive on this that actually touched City of Atlanta, Johns Creek, Alpharetta, Sandy Springs, and of course Roswell. And we gave them the wings to say, go do what you got to do. Like, this is a big deal. Shut it down. The other approach of that is, so there is an ongoing police part of this. But we realize that if you just approach this, and by the way, if you look at the Fulton County courts, they are backed up. So prosecution on this is very difficult. It's a slow roll. So we said, that's not acceptable. So we said, we need to find other instruments to shut these down, because we too are like said, why do they keep opening up? Like, come on. So we said, all right, we're going to start finding administrative ways, which is kind of what you're hearing tonight, administrative ways to shut them down. Like I said, we've identified 23 currently in the city of Roswell that we know. We know the legitimate businesses, and to our point, like, we want to extol the virtues of the legitimate business and to let everybody know, like, please go proselytize these legitimate massage therapists, because these are good business people. This is a great service, and it's virtuous. But there is a separation where there are 23 businesses that we know of in this city that are participating in human trafficking and illicit, they're breaking the law. They're basically prostitution.
Prostitution.
So we said we're going to stop it, and we're going to do whatever. That is going to end. You probably heard Randy say this, I think it was last meeting, the meeting before, like, we're going to stop this. And if the consequences are that, like, that's not politically popular, but at the end of the day, like, we don't care. I don't care, because we're going to end it. And I will tell you that we are also looking at more sophistication methods of trying to find ways to deal with the other side of human trafficking, the victims. And I will tell you, it's very difficult.
What?
The people who are the victims, the real victims of human trafficking. Because it's one thing to say we're going to shut it down, but it's another thing to also find solutions for the people that are victims. And the victims are in a real bad way. Many of these people, their families are held under threat in China, like really under peril of death in China. So this is really, really bad stuff. Yeah. And so there's, it's one thing, yes, we're going to cut it out in our community, but we're also looking at, hey, how can we solve for this for the people that are victims of this? It's a very, very, very complicated issue.
So my question then is, how did these 23 establishments get a license? What the hell was going on? I mean, that's a pretty blatant, bold way to say it, but what the hell was going on when they got their licenses? We've known about human trafficking in this town, at least I have, for over 20 years. Did we not have any criteria? Did we not care? Did we think, I say we, it's the collective we from the past. Did no one care? Were they thinking everyone was just getting a massage at 7:30 at night with windows painted black and only men going? Because that's what I saw. I'm just curious, what the hell was going on for the last 20 years in this town to allow that many places of prostitution to be in our city? And thank you for trying to clean it up, but you've been asked to clean up a full septic tank with a teaspoon. And as a Roswell resident and a female, I really appreciate what you're doing, but I think we need to re-examine how these people ever got in business to begin with. And then they move the women to Duluth or Norcross or whatever. They're like pawns as soon as they think they're shut down. And then do they get to come back? And because they have a new manager and maybe new employees and they promise they won't do it, we give them another license? I think Mr. Johnson's point that people have who are legit have a state license is a huge criteria, because I don't think the state's issuing licenses to prostitutes. I didn't check, but I don't think so. So I think this is a very, you know, Atlanta's the #1 human trafficking city in America because of the airport. We all know that. If you don't, you live under a rock. So I'm glad you're doing this, but I'm just curious, what in the world was going on for the last 20 years that we have so many places like this in our city? Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. I'll just make a commentary on that. I don't want to defend anybody. I will say, look, there's a calling to all of us as a people, like, it's 2023, and all of us know, like any time, it's just in your personal life or it's in your public life, there are problems. And it's easier sometimes to ignore problems than it is to confront problems. It is. And so I don't want to cast judgment on anybody. I know that it's easier, like, when it's something that looks like it's benign and there's not a calling for it. But I just want to give such credit to Lee and Christine and Will and Mike and Randy and staff and David and Chief Conroy. And then Sarah coming on board last year is like, nope, 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 nope. No can do. Not going to do it anymore. And so I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of their, you know, like, just untenable. Not going to do it. Not going to put up with it. And I'm proud of these guys. But I don't want to defend, but I will defend, is that, you know, most of us in life let stuff go. We do. And because it's easy. Like, it's hard. It's hard to get involved in stuff. It's hard to unpack it. You know, there's a lot to it. Yes, sir. Councilman Johnson.
I don't know if we're allowed to say this or not, but are you able to explain kind of how someone can have a state license and then still do illicit activities?
Can I make a comment? There's a reason we're not commenting on that.
That's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a reason, because to your question, there is a way.
Right.
And that's
I
what
just
we're
wanna
trying to
make sure.
shut down without being, forgive me, my fellow residents. We are trying to, we're asking for your entrustment, and we're trying to be very careful not to hurt legitimate businesses. But there's a lot of, like, tools we have to keep bringing out of the tool chest to shut them down, because there's a lot of legal loopholes that show up. So if David answers that question, he's going to give the playbook to those who don't need to know it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why.
Is that fair?
No, that's why.
And I ask your indulgence, my fellow residents, that we are not publicizing that information. Councilmember Beeson.
To address Ms. Taylor, I believe we also spoke via email. 2 items. First of all, you did give an excellent point about having feedback from those who do operate legitimate businesses that provide massage services. I believe Mr. Knighton, as well as other staff, will be hosting an open house, and I'm aware that you were not able to accommodate your schedule, which is why Mr. Knighton reached out to you. But providing an open house to be able to answer these questions, walk people through it, and also be able to receive that feedback from folks to have a better understanding on our end, those impacts. Secondarily, Ms. Dybel, you did have.
Sarah, do me a favor.
Yes, sir.
Not to interrupt you. Would you say that again? Because that's really important.
Yes.
And we need to promote that.
Yes,
to
actually,
everybody.
can I have Randy be able, because he has all the details
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
room and all of that. I have one more item, but I will defer to Randy for now.
Absolutely.
Sure. We will be hosting what we are calling an open house on this Friday, January 26th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Here at City Hall in room 220, and that is for the purpose of ensuring that spa massage establishments, the legitimate ones, of course, have an opportunity to ask questions of staff. We'll have various staff members here to ask questions, to provide information on anything that's pending or proposed with respect to regulations or ordinances. And so we want to make sure that those who do legitimately exist have an opportunity to continue to thrive and prosper here in the city of Roswell, and we are able to facilitate even the application process. So we invite those folks who can make it to come. Certainly, if you can't, reach out to our staff, and we'll be able to answer your questions there as well. And if I may, just one other item, Mayor, if I can.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to mention also that this is a multifaceted approach, as the mayor mentioned. And we are literally utilizing a group of staff members from various departments to take a look at every aspect of this issue to ensure that, again, we're able to answer those questions, and legitimate establishments can walk through a process and unencumbered without impediments. However, for those who do illegally operate and enlist the services of those who are involved in sex trafficking, we're still coming for you. And those who operate in this fashion, obviously that's in stark contrast to the mores and values of this community. It's inconsistent with the vision to be the #1 family community in America. And we are going to continue our efforts until all of those illegal spas and establishments are expunged completely from the city of Roswell. And this effort will continue. In fact, we're meeting with probably about 20 of our staff members in the morning from various departments to continue to address this issue, to recite what we have learned from our experiences over the past couple of weeks, and we will come up with new and innovative avenues of addressing the issue. And so for those who legitimately exist, we want you to move forward. We want you to be able to continue to operate. But for those who do not, our pursuit of you will be relentless, and we will not stop until those are eliminated from this city.
Thank you, Mr. Knight, and well said. Sarah, I know you had, sorry, I cut you off, I apologize.
Well, that was beautiful, Randy, and now I'm going to follow it with a question about zoning. To your question about, does that mean based off these changes with the C that's being added to those conditional uses on the use table, does that mean it's not allowed to operate in those areas? I realize that zoning and codes and stuff like that are a little bit wonky, so I'm going to defer to Ms. Dybel to explain what conditional use means and how modifying the code does not impact existing businesses. Ms. Dybel?
Thank you, Sarah. One other thing, Randy just handed me the stats, Janet, that when you asked me and I said nope, and I apologize, so he's got the stats here. We've made 70 arrests under 23 locations. However, that's not all Roswell. And by the way, and Lee was with me, I've made some of my colleagues a little uncomfortable, fellow mayors who I love, and they're amazing, amazing public servants. But I've said, if you don't do it, we're going to reach into your city, and we're going to shut them down as well. It's not just Roswell. We will be aggressively overreaching because we understand how this game works. And so we're asking our fellow sister cities to get as aggressive on this campaign as we are. And if for whatever reason they don't get as aggressive, we will pick up the slack. I can absolutely promise you that. And to this investigation, if you look, most of the arrests were actually outside the city of Roswell that we made. And you'll see more coming of that in the future as well.
To answer your question, Councilmember Beeson, so currently in the code, not shown up here, but currently in the code, in these zoning classifications in Articles 4, 5, and 6, under personal service, which is where massage therapy is located, they are permitted by right, currently in the code. With this text amendment, once it's adopted, there'll be a new title, massage and spa establishment. It will be broken out from personal service, and it will be a conditional use in the code. And I'll read you the definition of conditional use. It indicates a use may be permitted in the respective district only where approved by the City Council in accordance with Section 13.4. Conditional uses are subject to all other applicable requirements of this UDC, including any applicable use standards, except where the use standards are expressly modified by the Mayor and City Council as part of a conditional use of permit approval. So they are still going to be allowed in these classifications. They're just a conditional use, and they have to be approved by the Mayor and Council. That's what the C in the table means.
If I can piggyback on that, so for an example, when they mean conditional use, you are fine as an existing business, you're already operating, you do not have to come before Mayor and Council for approval. However, if Jane Doe decides to open a massage establishment directly next door to your office, even though you're in the exact same area, Jane Doe will then have to come before us because they are a new business. Conversely, if you sell your business, whoever is purchasing your business would then come before council. Those conditions mean it's not permitted by right. In other words, just because you sold the business, you automatically get it. You come to us as mayor and council, we conditionally can approve or deny.
Well
Hopefully that provides clarity.
That's well explained. Councilmember Hills.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to acknowledge my shared perspective as Ms. Russell. For years, I've been here 22 years in Roswell and 5 miles from my house now in East Cobb. And I have driven by places and thought, what in the world? Why are these places open? You can kind of tell when you drive by. And I'm guilty of driving by and going, you know what? I'm not a prude, but I am when it comes to that. I'm not going there. I'm not participating. I'm not supporting. I'm not patronizing that establishment. I bet the same could be said about Tattletales, Pink Pony, the Gold Club. I'm not going there. I'm not supporting that area. I'm not supporting that business. And turned a blind eye. I've got my kids and my family cordoned off here safe with me. And it's just sort of become white noise, which is disgusting. And I own my own part in that and not saying what the hell's going on here. When following my election, alongside Morthland and Mayor Wilson, we met with existing council members, Palermo and Hall, and we went through a battery of what I was interested in doing in the city, what each one of us wanted to have done, what were big priorities for us. And we whittled down from over 100, I think it was 110 or 111, down to 70, down to 43, and 11 of them became our 100-day plan. And in that 11 was shutting down spas that are producing illicit behavior, that are promoting human trafficking, any sort of sexual perversion, any of that. And we did that. My first meeting on it with City Attorney Davidson was in February of 2022. And then we pushed forward an ordinance that I worked out with him in May. So here we are 18 months later, September of this year, with the biggest bust ever. Yay, Fonnie Willis, you're so supportive. She showed up to take the glory on that. Yeah, that's political. It just drives me bananas. She's got a blind eye on it. Her eye is somewhere else. I'm, like the mayor, not going to throw any previous elected under the bus. They had a different level of commitment or priorities that they wanted to accomplish. For us, we're a family community. We're straight up around here. What sickens me is we may have people living right next door to me or down the street that are supporting these terrible places. So I want them hung out to dry as well. But we're not putting up with it anymore. Sick of it. It's disgusting. We all know what's going on. So just a little litany there, Ms. Russell, I agree. We should have done it a long time ago, but we're here now and we're doing it, and we're getting these scumbags out of here and cleaning that piece of lack of humanity out of here. And as the mayor said, we've put pressure on our sister cities, and they've all acknowledged they're interested in getting on board. We don't want to send them next door. We want to send them to jail forever. Thank you, Ms. Russell, for your question.
Thank you, Lee. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Yeah, just to that is just a quick comment to the users. I just ask you to think about something. It seems like it's innocent and benign to some, and it's not. And that's what I want you to think about. If you go, I want you to understand that you are proliferating, you are encouraging human trafficking. And that's about as heinous thing as there possibly can be. And I know some of you who go don't think of that way, but I would ask you to think of it that way. If you go and you're participating in it, you are helping to accentuate and accelerate one of the most worst forms of human behavior today, which is human trafficking. So I'd ask of those who might be a user to think about that, to let that hit your soul and say, you know, maybe you didn't understand the impact, but now I understand the impact going forward. Thanks, Lee. Okay. All right. Any other Roswell residents that'd like to address the matter? Yes, ma'am. You didn't get much. You got quite a break there.
I did, and I won't waste your time at all. I'll just, everything Joe said, I agree with.
Tell us who you are.
My name is Margaret Scally.
Hey, Margaret.
I've been a licensed massage therapist for 30 years. I've been in Roswell since 1997. I would think a few people have tried to help me out here, but I own a place off 600 House Way for my business, but I live in Cherokee County. So I was terrified, and so does my tenant, is kind of in the same predicament. So I was terrified about if I couldn't live in another county where my business was, or was it? So anyway, I just wanted to say, please, Joe was right, you guys, I was looking at a video from when you did the moratorium on opening a massage business, and I completely understand it, but I saw people were confused of what the definition of massage therapy is and things like that. We can help you. We will we want to get rid of these people too, because every once in a blue moon, somebody thinks where I work is one of those places, and then it also becomes like a safety thing too. So we want to help you, consult with us. We are more than willing to help out. So anyway, and thank you for all you're trying to do. We want them gone also, just as much as you guys do. So
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you. Scott, did you come up? Yes, sir.
Hi, Scott Long, 1055 Martin Ridge Road. I just had a question. Appreciate y'all looking at this and working through this. I can see over the years, y'all been incrementally working to solve it. It's great to see the police chief regularly weighing in on the stuff that y'all are doing. And one of the facilities that made the news recently was right next to our favorite taco restaurant, which also had a different problem last week with some break-ins. So I appreciate y'all looking at it. I had just a question with regard to the conditional use. The conditional use is sort of expiring or reset under certain conditions. Is it only when the parcel changes hands, like somebody buys it and sells it, or is it also when the landlord signs a new lease with a new establishment on that same parcel, or is it also even if that business were to change their name or something like that? Or all three of those cases, do they then have to reapply for conditional use, or is it only some of those?
Scott, that's my understanding. All three that you just named would be all three checks to go into a conditional. But David, you want to confirm that, sir?
That's correct. If it's a new business, new tenant, so to
new
speak,
business.
or a new name, it would all three of those would require them to come back to council.
Great. Thanks, appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Bring it back to council for any additional thoughts, comments. Councilmember Sells.
It's clear you guys have worked on this so long, and there's a lot to learn here. So I think one of the things that was a surprise to me when I got involved in this was how limited or how well they know how to get around the enforcement through what you would think would be the go-to tool, which would be law enforcement, and the way you guys have wisely used this to move this ball forward. That, to me, as a resident and a new member of the city council, that was, you don't think about that because they do know how to get around that, and they are very well represented and there's enough money in it for them to work very, very hard at that. So I really appreciate this work.
Thanks, Alan. It's funny, in this arrest in September, we confiscated $600,000 of cash.
Right.
Just as an example. And to your point, if we simply just used the police, we would not be able to shut them down. And you'd say, that's illogical, right? Well, you're not just trying to catch people in criminal behavior. Think about that. It's that's not easy, number one. And two, it's also very slow. And so when you do that, what's happened in the past, if there's an arrest made, boom, get bonded out, opens back up, right? Because there was no conditions to say that kept them from opening back up. Council, any additional thoughts, comments, or questions? Christine, you've been quiet. You haven't said a word.
I'm quiet because I'm excited that we're finally getting somewhere on this. We've been trying for a long time, and it was, as the public can see, it's getting out of our silos and getting everybody to work together, and that means finance, permitting, building inspection, police, fire, and that has been historically I don't want to say the problem, but nobody really took the bull by the horns and said, this is going to be a focus. How do we do this? How do we pull all the departments together in the city to make this happen? And even the court system and the prosecution. So it just goes beyond just the city staff, and I'm just very glad that we've had the leadership to be able to get this done.
Christine, great point. There's going to be a lot of heroes in this. There's going to be some building inspectors that are going to be heroes. Thank you, Judge Hansford, the prosecutor. Our local judge is involved in this. Our local prosecutor's involved in this. There's going to be a lot of folks. The police are amazing on this, obviously, but there's going to be a lot of people involved in this process. Our city attorney in his office, and obviously, it's all fallen underneath the leadership of Mr. Randy Knight. So, just very excited about this. Thank you, Christine. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? Okay. Councilmember Worthliff.
Last question from Ms. Dybel and Attorney Davidson. On the second recommendation to the Planning Commission, do you need anything further on that, or is that as clear as it needs to be?
Will, you asking me, sir?
Ms. Dybel and Attorney Davidson.
So I was actually thinking about that while this was going on, because I was trying to figure out where specifically we should put this in the code, because currently, left it over here. Code under Articles 4, 5, and 6, and 9, if you, conditional use part, it falls under Article 13. And I'm not sure exactly if that's going to fall in this section, or if that should be in the write-up that the city attorney's doing in Article 4. I wasn't sure where we were going to go with that, because this doesn't have any defined terms or anything else that I would normally put in the Unified Development Code. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be something that's going to be in Article 4 itself.
David.
So I think we will put a reference to it in the UDC and then address it in the city code.
Okay, so when for the next round, then I'll work on the changes and have it referenced, and I'll make sure legal looks at it to make sure the reference is in the right location for before it comes back for the second reading.
Thank you. And I think my intent would be to put that actually in the business license section of the code. So whenever somebody gets a new business license, they will have to get the conditional use.
Perfect. Thank you to you both.
Is Will, is this yours or Sarah's?
Oh, it's mine.
Will's, okay. Are you prepared to, any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Sorry.
We're ready.
Okay. Are you prepared to make the necessary adjustments on the ordinance?
Give me about 5 minutes, but yes.
Okay.
All right.
Well, we got help. You don't have to do it on the fly. We got Jackie here, and we got David right here. Yes, sir, David.
Since we have a second reading on that, should we get all that clarified and put it in on the second reading with the planning commissions, and then just get that?
That's what we're doing, yes.
That's what's going to.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is for that second reading, yeah.
Yeah. So you want, he's just going to give clarity, because, for example, I think on this, he's going to say, hey, scratch add physical therapy to be included. That's not going to be imparted, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
But he's going to say, hey, the conditional use approval for massage and spa establishment does not run with the land, correct? You're going to
Yes.
incorporate number 2, but scratch number 1.
That's correct. We're ready.
And there was another piece here, and we owe a follow-up on surety bonds, correct? So before the second reading, we need a follow-up on surety bonds.
That's part of the code that I'm doing.
Right, but we still need to give clarity on that, right, for our second reading.
So the intent was to have that ordinance tonight also. I did not get it done. My apologies. It will be done by the next council meeting. And so I will have that addressed in the code part that I am doing. So the surety barns is not part of the UDC. It's not part of the conditional use permit. It will be a part of the actual license for a massage establishment.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there was also the item that we had discussed about clarity on the definition as well. So within the,
Here.
sorry, thank you.
I know where you're going, 'cause I
Yep.
have it right here. You wanted the word spa removed from the last sentence.
Spa removed from the last sentence, and then the,
And then the wording changed.
it's 2 slides ahead,
Yep, actually, it's
to Mayor Wilson's point about
one.
the disrobing.
Yes.
Providing clarity around that's not dependent on disrobing.
Jackie, you want to go through all these real quick with David? Let's make sure we give everybody clarity on everything that we are making the change, so Will doesn't have to,
We'll start with here, section 9.5.2, indoor recreation, letter C, gym, health spa, yoga studio, number 1 defined. To remove the word spa in the last sentence, since it's listed in the health spa at the top. That would be number 1. The second item would be to clarify and adjust the wording in the definition under letter D, massage and spa establishment, prior to the second reading, to list the services they provide, and go through and work with, so we'll be working with legal. I got the definition from legal. We'll be working with legal to make sure we have the definition that will work for what you have for the second reading. So adjusting the wording, and you indicated list the services they provide. And I might have a conversation with one of our people from back here who talks to gets to understand the list of services. And then the second part is to add, I believe what you're looking at is striking number 1 due to the fact that Councilmember Johnson said physical therapy is part of healthcare officials, and then, but adding number 2, the conditional use to run with the land, to not run with the land, that we'll be making that as a reference in the second reading, part of the UDC, tying it to the business license establishment portion, which would be in Article 4 of the city code. Did I get them all?
I think you did. I believe you did, Jake. I believe you did, and we're going to follow up separately on the surety bond piece. Okay. Jackie?
Surety
well done.
bond and the registered agent having to be in Fulton County.
Yes. That's huge. Okay, thank you, Jackie. All right, so Will, you can make the motion based upon the recommendations Jackie just made to make it easy. All right, would you like to make a motion on that, Councilmember Wortley?
Would you like for me to read this entire thing again, or
Why
just
not,
straight?
with the suggested
Okay,
motion, just so we have
perfect.
clarity.
There we go.
Sorry.
Motion to approve text amendment to the UDC, Unified Development Code, Article 4, Section 4.5.2, Use Table, Article 5, Section 5.5.2, Use Table, Article 6, Section 6.5.2, Use Table, and Article 9, Section 9.5.2, Indoor Recreation, and 9.5.8, Personal Services regarding massage and spa establishments, including the 3 items that Ms. Dybel referenced.
And this is the first reading.
And this is the first reading. Thank you.
You're an outstanding gentleman, sir. Thank you, Councilmember Worthland. Is there a second to Councilmember Worthland's? Seconded by Councilmember Hills. All in favor of the motion, please raise your hands as read. It passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Well done. All right, next is the Environmental Public Works Department. for the very short period of time, Councilmember Ortland, you still have EPW. Would you please read the next item under Environmental Public Works?
Yes, sir. Approval of a text amendment to Chapter 24, Utilities and Services, Section 24.5.20, Plumbing and Water Conservation, and Section 24.5.22, Conservation Measures Relating to Lawn and Landscape Irrigation of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell. First reading presented by Director Brian Watson. Welcome back.
Thanks, Will. City Attorney Davidson, would you read the ordinance, please, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 24 entitled Utilities and Services of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell. Now therefore, the Mayor and Council of the City of Roswell, pursuant to their authority, do hereby adopt the following ordinance. Chapter 24, Utilities and Services of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell, Georgia, is hereby amended by deleting Section 24.5.20 in its entirety and substituting a new Section 24.5.20 to read as follows, text of which is incorporated herein by reference, and if approved, this is the first reading.
Thank you, David. Will?
Director Watson.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. In 2022, the Metropolitan North Georgia Water Planning District, or the district, released the updated 2022 Water Resources Plan. As part of the plan, the district developed new criteria for plumbing fixtures and conservation and developed a new model ordinance for local jurisdictions to adopt. The reason for this was to address water conservation in the region, and it's important to know that these changes in the ordinance would only apply to new construction. The new model ordinance provided updates to the definitions, updates to the table of fixtures, and incorporates the landscape conservation measures into one ordinance. Right now, our landscape ordinance is in 24.5.22. This would just move all into the same one, but no changes to the landscape. Staff recommends adopting the updated model ordinance. I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Brian. Director Watson, we had quite a healthy discussion on this in committee, if I do remember.
Yes, sir.
Council, any thoughts, comments, or questions on this matter? Being that there are none, any Roswell residents like to address the matter? Being that there are none, I bring it back to council for any final thoughts, comments, or questions. Other than you look very sharp tonight, Brian. Oh, Councilman Mortland, do you have a comment, sir?
No, sir. I'm ready to make a motion.
You'd like to make a motion? Yes, Councilman Mortland, make a motion, please, sir.
Motion to approve text amendment, Chapter 24, Utilities and Services, Section 24.5.2, Plumbing and Water Conservation, and Section 24.5.2, Conservation Measures Relating to Lawn and Landscape Irrigation of the Code of Ordinances for the City of Roswell, this being the first reading.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second for the motion? Councilmember Beeson seconds the motion. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Brian. I know it's a lifelong dream. All right, I'm so sorry, Director Malone, that we put you in this order. Next is the Recreation Park and Recs Department. Councilman Portland, would you read the item, please, sir?
Bill's ever spoken at a council.
That's great.
Here we are. We are talking about...
Item 5, sorry.
Item 5, here we go. Approval to rescind the official proclamation from 1952 stating that Youth Day would take place on the second Saturday in October of each year, presented by Director Stephen Malone.
Good evening.
Hey, Director.
There we go. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight. This item is a request for consideration to rescind the Youth Day proclamation that established the second Saturday in October of each year as the official Roswell Youth Day. As you know, Roswell Youth Day was established in 1950, and over the past 73 years, the city has traditionally celebrated this event on that date. As we continue to evaluate the changes in the Fulton County school calendar, we believe that we should consider moving the date of that event. As you'll see, this year's school calendar will have a 3-day fall break that runs the week immediately preceding the second Saturday in October. That has consistently presented a challenge for the city of Roswell as it continues to host a youth-based event on that second Saturday. Primarily, we've even gone a few years out, and what we've noticed is Fulton County calendar for the year 2025 and 2026 will actually be extending that fall break to a full week break, which will encompass the second weekend in October and the third weekend in October, which significantly creates some challenges for this event. What you'll see before you now are some potential conflicts that we've identified that will be running the consecutive weeks over October. You'll see the first weekend in October has a motoring festival and the wine festival. Second weekend has the Fulton County start of fall break, Yom Kippur, which will actually be falling on the second Saturday of October this year specifically. The third weekend in October, it will be the end of that fall break week, and then the fourth weekend in October, we traditionally have held several of our Halloween-based events, such as the Halloween Funhouse and Mother-Son Dance. So what are we recommending? Considering the Fulton County school fall break schedule, we propose the rescheduling of the celebration to a more suitable date, specifically the first Saturday in October. To help facilitate this change, we would request that Mayor and Council grant our department the authority to annually assess the scheduling of this event and make necessary date adjustments as needed. This approach ensures that the Youth Day celebration remains accessible and enjoyable to the community while accommodating the evolving school calendar and other pertinent events. So tonight, staff is recommending Mayor and Council rescind the official proclamation that was created in 1952.
Thanks, Director Malone. Council, thoughts, comments, or questions? Councilmember Hills.
Thank you, Mayor. I am so excited we're doing this. Having been involved with local schools over the years, twice helping the entire fifth grade build a float to participate, and then helping the one prior, in between, and after my kids, I have personally called, and was it Miss Bobby that used to handle that? So I've spoken to Miss Bobby. I challenged myself there, but I couldn't remember if that was accurate, and said, can we please make a change for Yom Kippur, because we had a substantial Jewish community that was being impacted. Can we please change it for, I don't know, 2 or 3 different things, but just to consider that. I don't know why your predecessor, the previous director, didn't come up with this, but I'm so glad that you, Director Malone, have got a handle on this. You're off to a grand start, and I think it gives, it unchains us, the city, from being pinned down and having to go through this each year, and just gives us some flexibility in the community and a lot of great opportunities to take advantage of in the month of October. So thank you. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you, Lee. Councilmember Hall.
Thank you. I also think this is a great idea. I do have a question. There were the other events that typically would happen. Is there a transition year, or how the wine festival and the motoring festival? Can you speak to that? Have those groups been contacted? Have accommodations been made?
Yes, ma'am. So we have actually had several meetings with the Roswell Wine Festival promoters and have created some opportunity that we feel like will be conducive for both events. Roswell Wine Festival has been gracious enough to offer to move their event to the weekend prior, which will be the last weekend in September. So we are currently working with them to get their event permit approved and work through all the logistics that they need to make their event a success. We want to make sure we're partnering with them to help promote that date change for them so that they can be successful this year as well. But that is the plan and approach.
And the motoring festival?
The motoring festival, I believe we're looking at alternate opportunities as far as dates go, but nothing has been solidified as of yet.
Thanks, Christine. Councilmember Beeson.
Just as a point of clarity for what we're voting on just this evening, again, the same as in committee, we are only voting on rescinding the proclamation that allows us to have flexibility on when the date for Youth Day will be each year, based off the conditions, holidays, et cetera. That said, we are not confirming any dates in stone this evening. Those were purely just recommendations from staff. We are only voting on rescinding the proclamation, correct?
That is correct, which would then give the authority back to staff to set that date moving forward.
Got it, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, just to kind of we're empowering, we're giving the with current power that lists there, the ordinance, we're giving it to staff to make the decision on an ongoing basis.
Yes, sir.
Council, any other thoughts, comments, or questions? Any Roswell residents? Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Stephen. Janet Russell, the Youth Day Parade's probably my favorite thing of the whole year. I've watched children grow up from being babies to being the parents of the kids in the parade, and I love it. And some historical perspective, 1952, there were maybe 2,000 people living in Roswell. That many live in an apartment complex today. There was one elementary school, one high school, and they were segregated. Think about that. So I think it's time we move forward, and this is a great idea. Why not? We want as many people as possible to be involved in this parade. It's so fantastically fun. And I would like to ask again, as I did to the previous council, that there be no political people in this parade ever again. Not people running for office, not currently holding office. As it was pointed out to me, it is no coincidence that this parade was scheduled 3 weeks before Election Day. Back in 1952, we didn't have any social media, so this was a way for politicians to get their face out in front of the 2,000 people that lived in Roswell to make sure they got voted for. Well, we have plenty of social media today, and we don't need to see their faces in a parade ever again. It's a place for the youth. It is not a place for politics. So I would like to ask that somehow we rescind, as part of that proclamation, or make it part of the rescindance, that there be no politicians in our parade anymore. I've watched them come and go, and some can be obnoxious and some can pretend, but it's a place for the kids. And people come from all over to see this parade. It's a blast. So, and I think they have it when they have Fall Farm Days afterward. Is that part of that? Isn't Fall Farm Days at the Smith Plantation? So you need to work that in too, the schedule of Fall Farm Days, because it's really well attended. So I think this is a good idea. It's time to move forward. We're almost 100,000 people. Schools are not segregated anymore. And I always laughed and thought, did I ever think I'd see kids from a mosque in a parade in Roswell? I love it. You know I'm the most inclusive person you'd ever meet. And I just love it that we have all these people in the parade that represent our community. It's like a giant kaleidoscope. Remember when you were a kid and you looked at a kaleidoscope and you could move all the colors around? That's what this parade is all about. It's a kaleidoscope of Roswell. So I think it's good that we accommodate that, Stephen. It makes only common sense, in my opinion.
Well, Janet, if you kick me out, you're going to save the city a ton of money on candy.
Well, you know, you can just send the candy. Send the candy, Kurt.
You're going to take away the only thing I like about this job.
Is the candy?
Getting to throw candy at kids.
Well, we all like
Actually,
the
it's
candy.
not the worst idea I've ever heard. However, I'm sure that the elected officials might have, it's going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to talk about this.
Well, I presented this at a previous council and at a previous council, and of course, the political people who are making the decision about their political position and faces don't want to not have their face in the parade, and they get to vote for what they do.
Well, I know that for Will Mortland, it's a lot of walking, and he wants to ride a horse, and we wouldn't let him ride a horse last year, so.
We had a mayor that rode a horse through here in that parade.
Well, Will wants to ride one, I can tell you. So, well, there you go. All right, thank you, Janet. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions from Roswell folks? Thank you very much. Being not, I'll bring it back to council. Thoughts, comments, or questions on the matter? Yes, sir, Councilmember Johnson.
Do we need to make another proclamation that the Youth Day Parade will be held in the month of October or the month of September, or a?
I actually can answer this one like really easy.
Yeah.
He's asking for authority. He's
he
saying,
gets it.
yeah, he said, please just give me authority to make the decision. That's really what he's asking for, right, Stephen?
Yes, and we will always have a new proclamation each year for the Youth Day that will be presented by the Youth Advisory Council.
Yeah. That's cool?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Any other thoughts, comments, questions from council? Thank you very much. Councilmember Mortland, would you like to make a motion on the matter, please, sir?
Yes, sir, and we will come back around and talk about that political aspect of what what Janet was saying just a while ago, but this is, again, just talking about the rescission of the proclamation. So motion to approve the rescission of the official proclamation from 1952 stating the Youth Day would take place on the second Saturday in October each year.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second for the motion? Second by Councilmember Johnson. Thank you, David. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Director Malone. Your dreams have come true as well. All right, Councilmember Worthlin, please read the last item under Parks and Rec, item number 6.
Approval of a text amendment to section 14.2.4, activities prohibited in the parks and public places of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell, first reading, presented by Director Stephen Malone.
City Attorney Davidson, would you read the ordinance, please, sir?
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance to amend Chapter 14, Activities Prohibited in Parks and Public Places of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell, text of which is incorporated herein, and if approved, this is the first reading.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Good evening. So this section 14.2.4, activities prohibited in the parks and public places, specifically item number 17F. The text amendment edit would read, open fires are prohibited, including portable grills, except within city-installed cooking grills located in designated areas. What we have seen over the last several years is we've seen several park visitors that have been coming into areas of our park, and they've been bringing their grills with them. They've been utilizing some of our trash dispense areas where they've been dispensing of their hot charcoal, other areas that they're dispensing them. It becomes a public safety hazard for the visitors within the park, so we just want to restrict that to the specific city-installed grills, so we provide a little extra layer of safety for the citizen.
Thanks, Director Malone. Any thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Councilmember Johnson?
This might be redundant, but, when it says open fires are prohibited, include portable grills, you might also want to add fire pits with the proliferation of solo stoves. People might not consider that a quote-unquote open fire.
You want some additional clarification
Yes.
to the language? I think that's fair. Just
Does that sound?
No, I think Director Malone, just like for all of us who are laymen, make sure, let everybody know, the City of Roswell provides a lot of fire
Grills.
pits, grills, fire grills, for you to do barbecues, right?
Yes, sir.
They're already there. We've already paid for them, provided for them, keep them clean. Do we not? We keep them clean.
We do.
We clean them out, and they're meant there for people to come enjoy, whether they're Roswell residents or not, right? There's a lot of Roswell residents that don't, a lot of non-Roswell residents come enjoy the parks and come enjoy the fire grills. So to your point, I think Councilmember Johnson wants to make sure language covering anything outside, hey, you get to use our fire grills, nothing, don't bring anything else in, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
Councilmember Beeson?
To add on that, I agree with that addition of the language of, to adjust open fires are prohibited, including portable grills and portable fire pits. If I'm not mistaken, in our code, Attorney Davidson can clarify on this, I believe the exemption to our open burn ordinance, we have a burn ban, you can use a fire pit as an exception to that. So therefore, the way it's defined, it's technically not an open fire according to our code. So we would have to clearly stipulate that a fire pit is inclusive of the portable grill in that language.
That's correct.
Okay, so yes, I agree.
So you guys ready to put that language together?
We'll have it ready for second reading.
Just add that line.
Ready for the second reading? Okay, very good.
Just add that line for second reading and I'm good. So portable grills and portable fire pits.
This is a lot, you got a lot of, okay, all right. Okay, any other thoughts, comments, or questions from council? Thank you very much. Any Roswell residents want to weigh in? Thank you very much. Bring it back to council. Anything else? Will?
Attorney Davidson, do we need, so we're going to add portable grills and portable pits?
Fire pits.
Fire pits.
He's going to clean the language up, right?
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right, so I'm ready to make a motion, and let's see how this goes. Motion to approve the text amendment to section 14.2.4, activities prohibited in parks and public places of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Roswell to include portable grills and portable fire pits. Am I missing something?
First reading, good to go.
And this is the first reading.
Awesome, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hills. All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion passes unanimously. We'll see cleaned up language. Congratulations, Director Maloney, 2 for 2 tonight. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
All right, City Attorney Davidson, would you read your item under the City Attorney's report?
I was wondering if Councilmember Morthland could call my item also.
I think he can. Will? No.
I'm sorry,
Do
what?
you have, I think before we go to your, there's a second item. Didn't you have something here? Let me find it. Yeah, you
I had
got
to
item
pull
number
it.
7. I don't see it here.
I had to pull it.
Oh, you had to
It's
pull
not
item
ready.
7?
It's not ready.
Very good, thanks. Okay, City Attorney Davidson.
Thank you. The only item I have is a recommendation for closure to discuss personnel litigation and real estate.
Thank you, David. Do I have a motion for closure? Motion for closure by Councilmember Sales. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Johnson. All in favor of closure, please raise your hands. We have a motion for closure passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great evening with that. There are no other items. This mayor's council meeting of January 22nd, 2024 is adjourned. Thank you all.